Oh, hello! A lot of trick games use tilemaps.
But maybe you don't all know what a tilemap is. A tilemap is a kind of grid, whose every cell, called a tile, have a texture. This system is pretty easy to understand, and is really convenient because easy to implement, but also fast, because it doesn't require complex calculations.
Except if you're a multinational corporation or if you work on Unity. Or even both.
Anyway, let's take an object which walks around on a tilemap. If this object touches a transparent tile, it can move, but if it touches a tile with a texture of ground, then the object cannot move through. That's as easy as it seems.
I already said it in my first video. Create a simple cohesion system with tilemaps. It's pretty easy. The problem comes when you try to do something which works in any possible condition, which objects of any size, which move around at any speed. But let's do things in order. First of all, how do we create a tilemap?
To start, we will need an image, called a tileset, which contains many textures that we're going to put on our tilemap. Like the tilemap, the tileset is a grid, and we will identify each cell using numbers. For example, we can say that the cell on the top left has a value of 0, that the cell on its right has a value of 1, then the one even more on its right 2, and we can continue like that from left to right and from top to bottom. Once we have our image, we must define what our tilemap will look like. To do that, because the tilemap is just a kind of grid, we create another grid of the same size of the tilemap, except that this grid will only contain numbers, and each of those numbers will match to the tile which must be displayed. Example: on this tilemap, the ground is made of tiles of stones. On the tileset, the tile of stones has the number 6. So, we will assign the number 6 to the position where the ground is. In this case, the ground is on the two last lines, so the two last lines will have the number 6. Once we have done that for all the cells of the grid, with for example a software like tile, don't do that by hand, you just have to retrieve our grid of numbers and we create a function or a basic object which displays a good tile according to these numbers.
And now, we have a problem.
You just displayed the tilemap, that's good, but how do we know if this or that tile is solid? Well, every time that we would like to verify that, we could look at the number of the tile and act accordingly, according to if we decide that this number is solid or not.
But that will be extremely slow. I will tell you what I do instead.
Rather than just assign a number to each tile of the tileset, I also assign them other properties, like for example, if this or that tile is solid, or if we pass through. Rather than manually change the properties of each tile, I try to put, for example, all the solid tiles on the left and all the non-solid tiles on the right, and then I change the properties of each tile in a loop. For the rest, nothing changes, except that if I want to check the solidity of a tile, I just check the properties of the tile. Of course, for a real game, it will be necessary to add more properties, like for example if we can pass through the tile only by one side, like the platforms in Mario Bros, or if the tile is slippery, and how much, or why not if the tile instant kills the player, in the case of the lava or the void. The possibilities are only limited by your imagination.
Anyway, in theory, now you can make a tilemap. And now, let's learn how to handle collision with them.
We're not gonna get pissed off. Every object will be an AABB, an axis-aligned bounding box, a rectangle, you know. This rectangle is defined by two things, the position of its center and its half size. Why half?
It simplifies the calculations. We will also need to stop the previous position of the object for that.
Once we have a magnificent object, with a sprite, animations, sounds, and an AABB wonderful, we can begin the algorithm of collision with the timer, which will occur at each frame, i.e., each time the game will update. Traditionally, we do that 6 times per second. To start, our object is here, and we want it there. The first thing to which we could think of is to move the object to the left, then to the bottom. It could be easy to do, and it could work on most of the cases. Will we do it?
No! I love when it hurts. Us, what we're going to do is exactly the same thing, but with linear anti-collision.
We will move our object in a direction, like the x-axis, so the left, and at the same time we will make as if we were proportionally moving the object to the bottom, but we don't move it for real, we just act as if. By the way, that's why we need the previous position of the object, to re-put it at its place when it's finished. Anyway, we can say that we imagine a straight line in the direction of where the object wants to go, but be careful, we don't move it anyhow. Actually, we move it from tile to tile on the moving axis, to handle all speeds, while shifting it on the other axis, to handle the beauty of the move. If the object moved diagonally, that's because it really moved diagonally. Then, each time we stop on a tile, we must check if the object is against a solid tile. To do that, we look at the corners which are on the side of the move. We come from one of these corners, here the top left corner, and we go to the opposite corner, here on the bottom left. And again, going from tile to tile. this time to handle objects of any size. And if there is at least one solid tile, there's no need to keep going. The object stops, we save its X position, and we can replace it where it was before, and restart the maneuver on the other moving axis, which gives the correct positions on the two axes. We just have to apply this to the object.
Well, I don't go into the details because in the case you aren't a video games programmer, it will not be really interesting. And in the case you are effectively a video games programmer, or you will not have so much difficulties to reproduce what I did, or you can just use my library which is on GitHub. The link is probably in the description. On the other hand, I did not yet make any tutorial, but it should come quickly. Probably. Anyway, that's all for today. Next time we will speak about the collisions between objects, and I think it will be way more interesting. But now, bye.